Yes, people, welcome to the Shoestring Budget Podcast. And we're going to go for a completely different show today. Today's the pre-match build-up. 30 minutes or so till kick-off. I'm joined as ever by my co-host, Tom. How you doing, bro?
I'm all good, bro. How are you?
Good, lad. Yeah, I am sound. So the team news has just dropped, and there's a couple of surprising ones. So a bit different to the team that we selected yesterday that we thought would start. So let's have a quick look here. So we've gone for, or Erik ten Hag rather, has gone for David De Gea, Diogo Dalot, as always, Victor Lindelof in place of the injured Rafael Varane, Lisandro Martinez, Tyrell Malacia, Eriksen, Casemiro, Bruno in that midfield three. Antony, you'll notice that the left side is empty, but we'll explain that in a second. And then up top, the return of the GOAT. Now, what are your thoughts on that team lineup? I mean, it's an interesting one.
Yeah, it's a strong one. I wasn't expecting it. Obviously, the left mid, we're all very happy with. But I honestly thought, I mean, obviously he's taken short out from last year, but I honestly thought, we wouldn't see Antony or even Casemiro tonight, or even Christian Eriksen. To be honest, so it's a surprise, but I suppose it gives for a good game.
That's it. I mean, obviously, the big talking point is, well, there's two huge talking points. So the first one I'll quickly bring up on the screen is Alejandro Garnacho. He makes I believe it's his first Manchester United start since that game pre-season. And I'm really excited to see what this guy offers. Now, he played in pre-season in the Rayo, I think it was Rayo Vallecano, and he was our sharpest player, really exciting, vibrant, and ran at the defence, gave the defence all sorts of issues. So I am so excited to see how this guy does tonight. What are your thoughts on Garnacho starting in place of Jadon Sancho?
I'm all for it. I wanted to see Garnacho tonight. Every time I've seen him play, he's looked quality. I think he's still young, so he's still got a lot of time and a lot of spaces to improve in. But I think he's such a talent that, it's a waste not playing him. And a game like tonight is kind of perfect for him, gets to show off what he can towards United fans, especially at Old Trafford as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing him play, to be honest.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously Old Trafford will be so receptive of him as well. It's a stadium that loves having the young players out. It loves seeing young players come through the academy. And over the years, certainly in the Europa League, we've seen some fantastic debuts. We had obviously Rashford a few years ago when he broke onto the scene. That was in the Europa League against Midtjylland. Got a couple of comments that have come in. Katie Lou's put, evening you two. Evening Katie, big shout out. And she's also put Garnacho.
Evening.
Get Ronaldo out, lol. I'm feeling so conflicted because I trust Erik ten Hag, but I didn't want him back in. That will definitely be the next talking point, Katie. That's we've already had this discussion as well on Twitter. I've seen a lot of polls and a lot of posts. Asif, hi JD, hi Tom. Big up Asif. Thank you for joining in the stream.
Hey.
Today's one's going to be a little bit messy. It's just something that we thought of earlier today. We thought it'd be good to get like a pre-match build up to the game that kicks off in around 25 minutes time. Now, obviously on Garnacho, sticking on him for a few minutes. The inclusion, something that we've all been crying out for over the last few weeks, certainly against teams like Ammonia, that we thought would be a little bit more of a walk in the park. And I do think if those performances had been better, or if we had been a few goals up, we would have seen this man play a little bit more. But obviously the ties kind of got away from us. The first game against Ammonia finished 3-2, very close game, and the return leg was a 95th minute winner or 94th minute winner by Scott McTominay. But Alejandro Garnacho, very exciting for him to be in the squad. Tom, could you keep an eye on the chat for me? My chat's going all over the place, so if you could keep an eye on that, that'd be great. Thank you.
Katie, I'm sorry I didn't wave. Here's your wave.
Never forget the wave, bro. No, so with Garnacho, he's someone that I've only ever seen a little bit of him, and I saw a little bit of his, obviously the preseason game, and I saw a couple of the under-21s matches, the reserve team matches as well. Now, he's someone that does like to attack. He's someone that's very front-footed. He's not scared to try and take on a defender, and I think having him in the squad will really shake up the Sheriff defence, because something I noticed a lot against Ammonia was that the fullbacks knew exactly what our wingers would do. And having someone that they've never probably seen before will be a little shock to the system, and will give him that advantage over their fullbacks. Now, obviously, Jadon Sancho has been dropped for this game. Do you think there's more that we should look more into that? Do you think that is... Are we starting to see the beginning of the end of Jadon Sancho, or is that still premature yet?
I don't think so. I think it is still premature. You can't expect a player to come to a whole different team, a whole different league, and just straight out give his life and give his performance. You know, there's that time period they need to have to, you know, get used to it. I know we can say, oh, Erling Haaland, you know, blah 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 blah. He's that type. He just scores goals. All right, he doesn't need to get used to anything. But with Sancho, I think we still need to give him time. We can't just get rid, or you know, keep dropping him or whatever. I think eventually he will start to perform, and we will start to see the real Jadon Sancho soon.
That's the big thing, isn't it? Because obviously he didn't do very well under Ollie. I don't think that's really against him, though. I think there's a lot of things you could point at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for. Obviously, I was a huge Ollie fan. I was very disappointed with how his time at United went. But when Ralph Ragnick came in as well, he was another player that came under a lot of criticism. Head was always down, didn't seem to want to take defenders on. Now we've got a manager that likes to play direct attacking football, and he just doesn't seem to be in that mindset at the moment, which is shocking for Jadon Sancho, because he's a player that we'd seen at Dortmund. He can attack, he can cause issues on that flank. I just don't know when or how long it's going to be before we start to see a bit more of a turning of the fan base on Jadon Sancho. He does come under a lot of criticism, but it's one of them.
Yeah, that's the thing. You've got to give a player time. We know what he's capable of, so we've seen him do it loads of times, so we know he can do it. It's just, when is he going to do it soon, or is it going to take him another year, or we just don't know. But Asif has said, if Garnacho performs, our team squad depth will increase heavily given amount of games and injuries.
That's a brilliant point, Asif. Last night we picked up on the fact that we've got a ridiculous fixture list. I mean, a lot of people have, us in particular, because obviously our game against Leeds was postponed. So we have a very, very intense run of fixtures. If we fail to qualify from this group as well, or fail to finish leaders, then that will also add to the pressure. So I'll bring up the table really quickly as well. So as you can see here, Real Sociedad, they should be probably playing now. I think they might have the early kickoff, or one of the early kickoffs. But as it currently stands, we are 3 points behind Real Sociedad, who are top of the table in that must-win game. So if we win this, obviously that Real Sociedad game becomes almost like a final in itself. Oh, so they kick off exact same time as us. Okay, that's fine. So we're going to obviously have to keep one eye on that result. Hopefully Ammonia can do us a few favours, and hopefully Frankie Azoya can put in a performance in the same way he did against us. But I'm really excited for Garnacho, and I think that's a great point about squad rotation, Asif. That's a brilliant point. But I'm excited, and the fact is that we have got people that we can bring on. So I mean, on the bench we do have Anthony Elanga. We also have Palestri. I would love to see him come on at some point as well.
Definitely.
He's got a really good attack. Obviously Zidane Iqbal's made the bench, as has Donny van der Beek. Now, this is the one we spoke about yesterday, me, you and Dwight, and somebody that we feel hasn't really had the fair crack at the whip maybe at United. I can see arguments for and against that, but hopefully Donny can get a decent amount of game time, maybe coming at half time. He's just come back from injury, quite a long injury as well, not played any minutes yet in the Premier League, or maybe 7 or 8 minutes in the Premier League this season. So do you expect that we'll see Donny van der Beek today?
I hope so. I mean, he's on the bench for a reason. You know, he's been out for so long injured, so give him the minutes that he needs to get back.
Do you think?
I'd love to see him.
Do you think
Go
Eric
on,
Ten
sorry.
Hag's the manager to get the best out of him? Obviously, they've worked together before at Ajax. Do you think
Yeah, I
it's a
believe
case
so.
of yeah? We just need. I think he's a good player to have on the not necessarily have on the bench, but have a squad rotation now. Like Asif said, it's a really good point. Is that
I think what it can be with Donny van der Beek now, though, is because he's been out for so long, he hasn't played any games. Even though obviously there's training, but it's not the same. And he hasn't played any games with the first 11 or the starting 11 for so long. So whether he can fit into that system or not, you know, that's just something he's got to try and show us that he can do.
yeah, I agree, and I do. I'm glad that he's back. I'm glad that we're still sticking with him. Now, Fred has obviously been dropped to the bench as well in replace of Ericsson, who is back in the starting lineup, as well as Casemiro, which is back to sort of what happened against Chelsea. Really solid midfield. Now, this is something that I wanted to pick up on that or bring up is the fact that we have such a solid team around Garnacho. The amount of times that we've chucked youngsters in around other youngsters or inexperienced players or players that are out of form, and I'm really happy. I think we were going to see a really good performance from Alejandro tonight, and I do think a potential
I
goal
hope
is on
so.
the cards. Yeah, I think it
I
needs
hope so.
to.
I really do.
It's his time
I think
now.
every time we've seen him play, go on, sorry.
No, I was going to say it's his time now to push into the first team.
Yeah, definitely. Every time I've seen him play, he looks confident, and you know he doesn't seem scared to get on the ball. So hopefully, like you say, tonight is his chance, and I hope he scores. I really do.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I think the fact that Jadon Sancho is so out of form, and obviously Anthony Elanga is a bit hit and miss. He's not really had a consistent run of brilliant games. If Alejandro Garnacho can hit the ground running, there's no reason why Eric Ten Hag won't pick him for the next few games. So very quickly running through the substitutes. So Dubravka is on the bench, a player I would have liked to have seen actually. I think the Europa League is a time to bring in someone like Dubravka, just to see what he can do. We've also got
We've
Tom
said this
Heaton.
loads of times. So every time we say it, we always say, you know, we want to see Dubravka. But you know, I think we won't see him until like League Cup games.
Yeah, it's
To be
got to be
honest.
leagues. Yeah, I think that's going to be the only time. But it is a shame. I liked it what we had when we had Romero, who'd play most of the
He was
Europa League
quality.
games. Yeah, he was fantastic. He really was. And to be fair, Dubravka's pretty decent. You know, he's Newcastle's #1 last season, so there's no reason he can't play.
Well, yeah,
#2
but it's
here.
just we just haven't seen him play. I mean, you never know. He might surprise us. He might be able to play out from the back a lot better than David De Gea.
Yeah, that's it. I've also just seen a comment here. Hope Garnacho turns out to be Greenwood's alternative. Oof, we need that.
Let's not mention that name.
We need a replacement for him. You know, a lot of people forget about
Yeah.
Greenwood because of obviously everything that's going on. We won't
Yeah,
delve into
he's
that, but
he for us. He's irreplaceable because he was such a quality player. But yeah, let's not get into that. Let's carry on with what
but
you're
it's
doing.
it's a very good point though, Asif. I agree. So on the bench we have two goalkeepers in Dubravka and Heaton. Very strange. I don't know why we always have two. There's no reason to have two goalkeepers, but
No.
we move. Harry Maguire has returned to the first team and he is on
Oh
the bench.
God, no.
Yeah, so tonight we could see Martinez at some point rested. I think we will. I think Martinez will probably play till half time if we go a couple of goals up, and Maguire will fit back in there with his old.
Have you seen it?
What?
Have you seen the thing about Maguire? Someone posted a picture on Twitter. I can't remember who it was. But Harry Maguire's been back in training. Do you remember that no Luke defending meme that went about him?
I saw this clip. Yes, he did it again in training, right?
He did it again in training. Yeah.
I mean,
Mate, he never learns.
the guy just can't catch a break. But I do think today is the day we see him return. I do think he gets an Old Trafford return, and hopefully a bit of a clean slate. I don't know. I can't really stick up for Harry Maguire. I really try. I don't like slating our players, but I really struggle with Harry. And I do hope he leaves and goes on to better things in his career. Because I can't see him getting into this team. I really can't. Not over Martinez and Varane. Moving on, then we have Luke Shaw, who has been in fantastic form, but rightfully rested. I think. It's nice to see Tyrell Malacia come back in and just to give some freshness to Luke Shaw. And obviously Donny van der Beek, who we've spoken about. Zidane Iqbal, your man, has made the bench. A player obviously we spoke really highly of. Him alongside Charlie Savage, who unfortunately doesn't make the bench today.
Yeah,
it would have been nice.
Yeah, I would like to see Charlie Savage again.
Yeah, every time I've seen him play, he's been really, really solid. A couple of comments about Maguire out in the. I seen you joined in there as well, in the Maguire out trend.
I had to.
I think he's gonna have to go, but that's a story for a different day. Alanga Palestri.
He has to go, blood.
It's time to go. Elanga Palestri, Rashford and Jadon Sancho. Really, really solid bench. If anything goes wrong, we've got a lot of talent there to pull us back into this game. I can't see really much going wrong, but this is Manchester United. They still can be hot and cold. I know we're not seeing that at the moment, but I hope we see a really, really dominant performance. Now, there's about just under 15 minutes till kickoff, so we're going to keep the stream going just for a few more minutes before the kickoff happens. Now, there's obviously one huge shadow that is looming over this particular game. It is the return of Cristiano Ronaldo, the return of the GOAT. Now, I mean, this has caused a lot of divide, certainly on Twitter. A lot of people slating Erik ten Hag for his treatment of Ronaldo, a lot of people slating Ronaldo for his treatment of Erik ten Hag and Manchester United. I find myself firmly in the camp of the latter. What do you think about this return? What are your thoughts, and do you think it's the right decision?
I mean, let's be honest, he's still the GOAT, you know, there's no denying that, you know, he will always be the GOAT. But you know what, why not? You know, I suppose tonight, like a lot of other players, this might sound a bit stupid, but just bear with me. This is the night again for Ronaldo to kind of prove himself. I know that sounds a bit weird because it's Ronaldo and he's already proved himself his whole career, but I mean, like, he needs to prove himself for Erik ten Hag. That's what he needs to do. And if he gets a couple of goals tonight, gets in good positions, you know, doesn't moan about and all that stuff, I think, you know, he could potentially make it back into the starting 11.
Now, it's obviously a big talking point. It was a poll that we put up earlier on Twitter. Last time, I mean, my Twitter is not working on my phone at the minute, so I'm very sorry for the radio silence on Twitter. But a poll that we did earlier about whether or
to be honest, it's not working for me either, so...
Oh, it must be a Twitter issue. But the general consensus was that the last time I looked at the score was a lot of Manchester United fans feel that we do play better football without Cristiano Ronaldo in the squad. Now, I know a couple of people did have a pop earlier at me on Twitter and say, you know, I was wrong to talk about Ronaldo in this way, but I don't even think, again, I don't think it's a Ronaldo issue. I don't think it's necessarily Ronaldo's fault that we play differently. I think it's the players around him don't gel well with Ronaldo. But I'm intrigued to see him come back today. I think he'll grab a couple of goals. He needs to have a big performance to silence any doubters, or, you know, kind of just for his own ego boost. I think we'll see a big Performance from him tonight. And he has a very good relationship with Alejandro Garnacho, which is quite funny considering that Garnacho is Argentinian, obviously a Messi country, Lionel Messi country, but he is a big Ronaldo fan, so I'm hoping to see a good link up between the two of them. Asif Baba has put in the comments, no matter what, CR7 is frustrated due to the lack of game time he's getting. I will stand with my GOAT. He is the GOAT, and I don't think anyone can say anything different to that. But at the end of the day, a manager's got a decision to make, and I'm glad we've got a manager that can stand up to somebody of the caliber of Cristiano Ronaldo and say, look, this is how it's going to be. I do think maybe more of a conversation could have happened over the summer, but for whatever reason, that didn't happen.
To be honest, I honestly see Ronaldo leaving in January, but for who, I couldn't tell you.
This is the thing. A lot of clubs weren't interested in him. There was obviously that link with Napoli that came, but that never
why should Why should other clubs have an interest in him after seeing what he's been doing at United, especially like refusing to come on as a player, storming down the tunnel, blah blah blah. No team's gonna look at that and think, yeah, I want that player,
No,
regardless of who you are.
you've made a very good point. I think he's kind of even taken himself out even further out of the market, given his attitude and his sort of his performances off the field this season. I do feel a bit conflicted in some ways over it, because I get that it's difficult to watch. We've said this before. It's difficult to watch your best player, a player that has brought so much joy and happiness to the club, and your childhood as well. Because don't forget, we've watched him play for the past 10 years, or 12 years, even longer, 15 years.
Yeah.
And to see that come to an end, to see the decline come, for us as fans, it's really sad to see and really frustrating. But it's even worse for Cristiano Ronaldo to see the decline and the lack of game time. The fact he's now being used as a super sub, for him must be a huge smack to his ego. And the fact that no other clubs have come in for him as well, which you put Cristiano Ronaldo on the market a couple of years ago, he'd have been snapped up by almost any team.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of them. It's a difficult situation, from our side, from the fan side. We don't know the full story, obviously, and we're never going to know the full story. But it's one of them. It's always drama with Ronaldo. That's just how it is. We kind of have to accept that and just move on with it. But Katie has said, like I said before, I'm conflicted because Erik ten Hag cares about the team as a whole and has obviously picked him for a reason, but I'm still so upset about it all. And Asif said, love the way Erik ten Hag is managing the team, but inside, love for CR7 is there. That is hard to wash out.
And again, this is where the fan base has been really divided, because you've almost had I think it's a bit unfair, but a lot of people, the Ronaldo FC, as they've been maybe not rightfully nicknamed, have come out more in support of Ronaldo than of Erik ten Hag and Manchester United, just based purely on their love for the player and what he's brought to the game. What's annoyed me more than anything is that it has divided the fan base, and it's brought scrutiny to Erik ten Hag that I don't think was warranted. For the last however many years, all the pundits and all we've wanted is a manager that makes tough decisions and calls out any bull crap that goes on with players. We get that. And then all the ex-players, all the ex-pros and pundits that have been calling for a strong manager have then turned on Erik ten Hag and kind of laid into him. I saw Rio kick off about him the other day, Graham Souness, Patrice Evra. It's really difficult to watch. And obviously there was that thing with Dwight York yesterday. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, I do think it's a sad one. But I'm glad he's back, and I hope he can score a couple of goals today, but I still don't think.
Yeah,
he's
well,
right
obviously, you're going to talk about it after the game right here on YouTube on the Shoestring Budget podcast.
Definitely, nice little plug there. I like that.
I'm gonna plug it. Straight after the game. So obviously, we'll soon see, but it's one of them. So what are we saying? Obviously, I know we went over this yesterday. But your score predictions?
Score predictions for today. Looking at that team, I'm going to upgrade to a 3-0 today. I think it's going to be.
Yeah, I was literally just about to say the same thing. I was about to say I'm going to upgrade to a 3-0.
I think Garnacho is going to make a big difference. Strangely, I do think he's going to come in and he's going to be someone.
Yeah, I also.
Watch.
Yeah.
Well, the kickoff is about 5 minutes away, so thank you, Tom, for joining us this evening and going through this. It's been great talking to you. Thank you to Katie and Asif in the comments, and anyone else that's watching. Thank you for joining in. Let's hope for a big scoreline and a big performance. I am here straight after the game. Make sure you check Twitter for the links, and I'll see you straight after the game. See you on the next one.
Peace.